Meditation and Spiritual Life, Swami Yatiswarananda. Work must have a higher goal. In the lives of most people, you find it is all aimless activity that has no ideal, no higher goal, no clear conception of anything. It is nothing but drifting in a sea of vague and nebulous ideas and desires. What such people generally go on calling duty is, really speaking, nothing else but attachment. Most people keep themselves busy and active through attachment and yearning for sense enjoyment. It is always easy to be active when following the line of attachment and clinging to wrong values. And very often, through attachment, through covetousness in some form or other, we call a thing our duty. But it is not duty at all. It is all attachment and craving for sense enjoyments. Though we give it a high sounding name and feel satisfied. Duty, as such, should have no element of attachment or egotism in it, whether individual or collective. We should work in a spirit of perfect self sacrifice to the divine through a sense of ought, never, or some personal end. Ordinarily, people work as slaves to their senses and personal desires, gross and subtle. But the great ones work out of their own immeasurable freedom, neither from a sense of attachment nor from a sense of duty, as generally understood. They do all their acts as a form of loving service to the divine in all, fully realizing themselves to be instruments in the hands of the Lord. Our activities should have a goal that is beyond the realm of our petty desires, and this goal must be realized. Our activity should never be aimless ones, activity for the sake of activity. There are many people who pride themselves on being active, but that simply means they cannot sit still. They must always do something. Being afraid of being left to themselves and to their own thoughts. Theirs is the random activity of a monkey that is intensely active, no doubt, but for what? Nobody knows. There is nothing to feel proud of. Such people always do something or see something or hear something on the physical plane, and if they are prevented from doing this, they feel miserable. They are no longer able to live on the thought plane. Most people work only through attachment and clinging to their body for what Sri Ramakrishna used to call kama kanchana, desires. If there comes a sense of real duty in a person, that will be something better, but even that is still a sort of constraint. There is still something higher and better than that, loving service to the divine in all, in perfect self surrender. So, duty, if it doesn't have a higher goal, duty, if it is not coupled with the character of service and self surrender, is always binding out of desire and selfishness, which must be checked and evolved. The higher ideal, of course, always brings in its wake a certain amount of limitation. If I can I can no longer freely and thoughtlessly go in for all kinds of so-called duties, all kinds of activities, the moment I have the higher ideal in view. I cannot steal, I cannot tell lies, I cannot do anything immoral, I cannot lead a sexually impure life, I cannot act in an undignified, vulgar way. At least the really sincere and scrupulous person cannot. The unscrupulous person can do all that and much more. So, here again, the scrupulous person is more limited than the unscrupulous one, but this kind of limitation belongs to a higher order. If we sincerely bring in the higher ideal, we will find that certain activities and certain so called duties do not tally with it. And all these have to be thrown overboard. There is no other way. They are not real limitations, they are tracks, railway tracks, as it rigid but leads us to the goal. When we make some compromise, we should say and know what that we are weak, but we should never make that a justification for a weakness, or even go so far as to call it a duty. We shouldn't bring the ideal down. And if any compromise is made, it should only be made with a view to rising above all compromise someday. So, with complete awareness, we must do what is needed. If I'm not able to do something, we shouldn't justify it unnecessarily. There should be no attempt at justification. The ideal should never be lowered. The question of duty is a very difficult one. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that even the wise are confused as to what is duty and what is not duty. Chapter 4.16. As defined earlier, duty is that which helps us in our progress, non duty that which prevents or retards our progress. Just as we can say good is that which helps our evolution, evil is that which retards or prevents our evolution. So duty helps us progress, real duty, and which is not duty, it retards. But all these are only very loose and general definitions. Each case should be judged by its own merit, and always the lesser thing has to be sacrificed for the sake of the greater. Lower self has to be sacrificed for the sake of the higher. By doing this, we rise step by step to higher and higher forms of duty till we reach the goal when all duty drops off. So, the aim is to take karma sannyasa. So, duties should evolve. What is the parameter? The parameter is, am I able to achieve a mental state where I am able to see the divine through my actions, through my so called duty. If one duty is not conducive in that way, we have to sacrifice that lower for the higher. Some duty is giving me so much attachment, so it has to be sacrificed for the moment to go higher. By doing this, we rise step by step to higher and higher forms of duty till we reach the goal when all duty drops off, and what is left is only loving service to the divine in a spirit of perfect self-surrender and self-forgetfulness. And this is the ideal of the great ones. This is the ideal all the great ones stand for.